So just to get started, my name is David Johnson, and I'm from Seattle, actually, home of Amazon and Starbucks and Microsoft and all of that. And I grew up in the tech world and learned to program at age 18 and was doing things with this at work that nobody could understand. But this is all in like 1970. And I came to California to do retreats with a Vipassana teacher, Mahasi-style Vipassana, not the Goenka style. And I met Bhante Vimalaramsi at that place. So that was kind of my first connection. That was 1973 in San Jose. And I was just down in San Jose yesterday and it was like, wow, it's been so many years since I've been here. It's incredible. So I met him there. I spent 20 years of doing dry insight Vipassana. I met Mahasi Sayadaw in San Francisco. I gave him an electric shaver as dana. And the monk said, "Oh, you are going to have sharp wisdom." I said, "Okay, I'll take it." And he's like, "Yeah, like what?" They use, razors. Who knows if they know what an electric shaver was. But so I did Vipassana for many, many years, as well as Bhante did. And Bhante Vimalaramsi, we'll talk about him a little later, went to Asia, and he did all of that too, in Burma with U Pandita, with the top dogs of Vipassana. He was very serious to find Nibbana and to find out what the Buddha taught. So we were at this meditation center, and I was kind of managing it with the teacher there. And Bhante Vimalaramsi was there, and he was a carpenter, and he built the meditation center at this place, and it's still in San Jose, but it's now a private residence. We were there until about 1978 or so, and people were not interested in meditation coming up on 1980. They were interested in white powder and disco. And Vipassana, all the meditation interest really went out the door for a while. So that center closed. I went to work in Silicon Valley and got a career as a production control, logistics, and started working on computers. And anyway, spent many years down there. So I ran across Bhante Vimalaramsi in 2006 and found out that he was not doing Vipassana anymore. He was doing something else, completely different. He was going back to the suttas. And everybody had the suttas on their bookshelf, but nobody was reading them. Because when they read them, they go, well, this doesn't really match with what we're doing, so we'll just keep doing what we're doing. But it kind of matches. It's close enough. But it didn't exactly match. So he thought that was a problem. A monk in Malaysia said, you need to put down all these other practices and go back to the suttas. Your answer is there. How many people want to know what the Buddha actually taught? Wouldn't you like to be sitting at the foot of the Buddha and not get everybody's, well, this is what I do, this is kind of what works for me? Let's find out what worked for the Buddha. In any case, I was put in touch with him, and somebody says, this monk in Missouri knows you. And I said, I don't know anybody in Missouri, of all places. So it turns out I did. And Bhante Vimalaramsi had turned into a monk and spent 12 years in Asia, found a new practice, and I got in touch with him, and pretty soon I was doing what he was teaching, and I was convinced. It took about 6 weeks, and I was convinced that this was something new. And so I started helping him. I started putting things on the internet, which was pretty new. I mean, it was far before YouTube and Google Video. I actually put videos up on MySpace. Who knows MySpace? Yeah, and other places that are gone now. We did CDs. first with audio and then with video. And pretty soon we're just doing videos and then video talks and putting them online. And pretty soon there's nothing, everything's sitting online now. All the talks that are worth putting up are put up on YouTube. And there's probably 650 talks on YouTube of Bhante doing talks over these years, plus other teachers doing these talks as well. And so I moved to Missouri in 2010 and started to help run the center and became his attendant. I was his kapya. In other words, that is somebody that does everything that the monk really can't do. In many cases, senior monks are not to be doing errands and to be cooking their own food, and they're taken care of. And then in response to that, they teach you the Dhamma. So I helped him. I made his doctor's appointments. I made his plane tickets. But in the meantime, I learned the meditation, and I meditated and did many of his retreats. And started to sit in on interviews and learn the practice so well that I could teach the practice, and started online retreats. And then did a retreat here. I gave a retreat here in 2016. It's been many years. And then did other retreats at Dhamma Sukha. So I've been around TWIM since about 2006. So it's been a while, but it's amazing, this practice. Within a few days, within 3 or 4 days at most, you're going to start to get this practice. And you're going to start to feel something you've never felt before. And that's why I've put aside all other practices and have come to this one. So by the time of the end of this retreat, you're going to all know this, the 6 R's, very, very well. Okay, and that's what we're going to teach you. Now, let's see here. Okay. It looks dark, doesn't it look?
Yeah, it's dark.
Maybe I need to wake it up.
I turned the brightness down.
Oh, for the camera? Yeah. Oh, I see. Can everybody see it okay? Yeah. Okay, all right. All right, so as you can see, so we're going to do the practice of TWIM. Where did TWIM come from? TWIM is a word that comes from the word samadhi. How many people have heard of samadhi? Okay, that's what you're going to actually be learning, is samadhi. Samadhi is a word that the Buddha actually came up with. Other people say, no, he didn't. It was around before. But actually, samadhi, sama, is Pali for tranquil. D, in Pali, can mean wisdom, tranquil wisdom. So that's tranquil wisdom insight meditation. So we're practicing samadhi. Samadhi. Okay, so samadhi. So we're going to talk about, this is kind of the agenda. We're going to talk about Bhante a little bit. Am I in your way? Yeah.
Yeah, here, I'll just move this a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay, you're good.
All right. Retreat format and schedule, I think we've really gone over, but we'll talk about it again a little bit. Introduction, what is mindfulness? That's an important thing these days. Everybody has a different definition of mindfulness. Well, Bhante does too. Bhante has his own definition of mindfulness. And he's trying to get back to the definition that the Buddha gave. We want to get back to what the Buddha taught. He was the expert. He had tried every other practice. And in addition, he tried all the ascetic practices. He'd stand on one foot. He would not breathe for 5 or 10 minutes. He would live on 1 grain of rice. He went to the point where he almost died. And he said, well, this is not it. And he became quite confused as to what was next. But we'll get into that, how he came about finding enlightenment. The definition of meditation, what really is mindfulness meditation. We'll go through then the instructions and what is keeping you from getting concentrated or collected. So Bhante Vimalaramsi was an American monk, and he got ordained in Thailand. He was ordained by a Thai monk who didn't speak any English, and none of the monks in the monastery spoke any English, so he had no idea as to what to do. Finally, he left. He said, I can't stay here. He left and went to Burma and found somebody who spoke English and could translate. And he spent probably 10 years doing Vipassana, Mahasi-style Vipassana in Rangoon, under U Pandita and the Chamne Sayadaw. He went to the end of that practice, and the teacher said, you have it. You have attained. You should now teach. And he says, I just don't feel this is the right thing. He went through all the insight knowledges. It's all in the book. He went through all of this, and it just wasn't enough. So he left. He went to Malaysia. And in Malaysia, another monk, Bhante Punaji, said, stop reading all these other books and only follow the suttas. The Vipassana and many of these practices were developed 1,500 to 2,000 years later after the Buddha. They were not taught by the Buddha. You cannot go back to the suttas and find any of these practices there. They were come up with by monks. They work, they do what they say they do, but it wasn't really what the Buddha taught. It doesn't match. Let's just say that. I won't say that the Buddha didn't teach it, but it doesn't match his original teachings. Those books over there, those are suttas. Those suttas, those are original teachings that the Buddha gave. And Ananda remembered, and then they had a meeting 90 days after the Buddha died and said, okay, we need to remember the teachings. How are we going to do this? All right, we're going to memorize them and we're going to chant them. And this monk was given this teaching, and this monk was, everybody was assigned. And these are arahats, fully enlightened, the Buddha's disciples. And so they started to memorize them. And every so often they would get together and recite all of the suttas to make sure that they had remembered them perfectly. They're still reciting them in Burma to this day. So that means it's an unbroken chain back to the Buddha himself. So that's something. That's really important. So that's what we're going to be learning from, those suttas. So he took some of these suttas, and he started to reflect on what was written there, and he started walking up and down on the streets of Kuala Lumpur, doing mindfulness the way it was in the sutta. And the way that it says in the sutta to do mindfulness is to know when you're walking, and when your mind wanders, tranquilize, relax the bodily formation and tranquilize the mental formation. In other words, when your mind starts to wander, relax, tranquilize. So he would walk, and if his mind got into thinking, he'd say, okay, stop, relax. Then he'd walk a little bit more, and pretty soon he had these quiet spaces between all of the thinking going on. And he thought, there's something going on here. And that is the instruction in the suttas. So he took the Majjhima Nikaya, and he went to a cave in Thailand in which a cobra lived on one side, and he took this side. And he took that book over there and practiced the meditation as it was in the suttas, and went and started to experience exactly what was there. And they finally sent somebody for him to tell him to come back because he had monastery duties, and they wanted him to give talks and do all these kinds of things. And he said, okay. So after 3 months, he came back, he went to Malaysia, and he completely changed everything. He started to teach what we know as TWIM today. And that was based on loving kindness, not on the breath. Loving kindness in the suttas is talked about far more than breath. Breath is in the Anapanasati Sutta. A couple of suttas, there's Satipatthana, there's the Mahasatipatthana. It's not talked about actually that much. The Brahma Viharas, that's metta. That's metta, karuna, sympathetic joy, equanimity. Those are talked about a lot in the suttas, far more. Ask an AI chatbot, it'll tell you. So he did what was in the suttas, and he started teaching it in Malaysia. And then he came back to the USA, and he founded Dhamma Sukha in about 2003. And he was attended to by a woman named Sister Kema. She became a nun. And he started to teach retreats in Dhamma Sukha near St. Louis, Missouri. And very gradually, things started to grow. And we are here. We started doing retreats that might have 2 or 3 people. And now we have 20 to 25 people. And it's growing now. And we have other people going out doing retreats elsewhere. So he taught retreats till 2021, and he died on June 27th, 2023. So we see him as a spiritual father of tranquil wisdom insight method. Because he rediscovered what was in the suttas. It's the tranquilized step. It's called pasambaya in Pali. If somebody does not have the relaxed step in their practice, they're not teaching from the suttas. Their practice it's a practice, it does things, it gives you results, but it isn't matching what's in the suttas. And the Buddha said, if what you find somebody else is teaching does not match everything that I'm telling you, I do not teach that. And that's the way you can figure out if what you're practicing is what the Buddha taught, is just read the suttas and see if it's there. But if it does match the suttas, then the Buddha said you can consider I taught that because it matches. Anyway. So what did the Buddha teach? What is enlightenment? Why are you here? Everybody has a different reason. Let's get a few reasons. Somebody give me a reason. Why are you here?
Taxes.
Taxes? Or Texas? Taxes. Okay. It's a tax exemption. Okay, yeah, right. Any other reasons? Why did you come? Quiet the mind. Okay, what was the other?
End of suffering.
The end of suffering? Oh.
I'm going for it.
Oh, you're an OG. You already know this stuff. Quiet the mind. Yeah. Why would you want to quiet the mind? Mind's great. Talk. No, it's not so great. More peace. Peace of mind. Why is the mind going like this? Just crazy and talk. What does that come from? Comes from desire, wanting. I want this. I don't want this. So he found out that, the reason that he's searching for something is he realizes there's suffering in the world. And what is the cause of that suffering? It's craving. It's our constant desires, either to pull something in, wanting something, pushing it away, or taking it personally, like this is mine, and I'm holding on to it, and you can't have it. So it's craving. It's not letting go. It's the opposite of letting go. He found that there is a cessation of suffering by relaxing, by letting go. And there is a path leading to the cessation of suffering, and that is the Eightfold Path. And we'll get into that, and that's what you're all doing. So, we're here to find the end of suffering. And the end of suffering is suffering is what we're going to see on this retreat. And there's going to be some craving going around. And it's going to be affecting the mind. But if you follow the instructions, you'll get out of that craving. You'll have a cessation of craving. So what is enlightenment? What is the meaning of life? Is it about bliss? A lot of people are into bliss now. They're wanting to get into jhanas and absorption states because they want to sit in bliss. Okay, that's okay. But then you come out of that state and you're right back into suffering again. So that's not a really permanent fix. Of course, people will take drugs, and that eliminates suffering for a little while, but it adds a whole bunch of other problems. But we're all looking for happiness. The Buddha made it clear that it is happiness that we're looking for. Now, he laid down a foundation for this happiness. The foundation is morality. And I know some people are not going to like that. They say, I'm going to do what I want to do. Well, you can do that, but everything that you do has a result. And if you are doing good, wholesome acts, you're going to get good, wholesome things back. And that means to yourself. If you give something to somebody, you're going to feel good about it. But if you go steal something from somebody, you're going to feel guilty about that. So we have a set of morality that we're going to follow. Those are the precepts. The Buddha laid down 5 precepts for lay people, for all people, and he added a few precepts for doing a retreat. And for a senior monk, he made it 227 precepts. So you're not monks, you don't need to follow 227 rules, but just the major 5. We'll get into those. Okay, I've already said this. Doing harm leads to painful results. Doing good leads to good results. Do you want good results? Do you want a good life? Do good things. The ultimate good is Nibbana. What is Nibbana? All we can say for now is it's the end of suffering. We'll leave it at that. I guess this has changed now. So every day, 6:30 here, you'll be getting up at 6. You'll come here, and I'm going to pass out precepts, refuges. We will read those, and some Dhammapada sayings, and those will be our precepts that we take every day. So we're going to reaffirm the rules that we're on every day. So if we break a rule, the next day we're taking those rules again. Okay. Lunch, etc. We don't need to really get into any of that. So we're going to be practicing loving kindness. There are benefits of loving kindness. There's actually 11 benefits that the Buddha taught. In the suttas it says that when you practice metta meditation, you go to sleep easily and you sleep soundly. You know, people who do bad things, they don't sleep so well. They have a lot of guilt, a lot of stuff comes up in their mind. I have to say that over the years, my dreams they're really kind of nondescript, but before I'd have dreams that, oh man, nightmares. I remember one nightmare where somebody just shot me. It's like, and I woke up and I was like, that is not good. So, and some people with PTSD have dreams over and over again, right? Just every night. So, what do? We do loving kindness meditation. You have no nightmares. When you wake up, you awaken easily and quickly. People like you. Even animals like you. There's a certain feeling that people will get from you. You are picking up people's energy. You don't know it, but you are. When you walk into a room, you might get a feeling that there's somebody there that maybe you tend to, you go to. That person's kind of nice. Maybe I'll talk to him. Or this person, they look kind of sulky or just something's off. So you stay away from them. There's there can be a real reason that they're thinking thoughts that are maybe not so nice. But this person may be a good person. They're emanating loving kindness. Your face becomes radiant and beautiful. At the end of the retreat, we were taking pictures at the beginning and the end of retreats of people, and their face would it would like fall, and it would glow. And it was said the Buddha had golden skin that would radiate this glow whenever he walked. You have good health. These are just a few of the benefits. I mean, you've heard of the research of meditation, that you live longer, you have better health, and all of this stuff. I mean, there's a lot of research that says now, hey, everybody, I don't care what kind of meditation you do, just meditate and calm the mind. And that's fine. When you practice loving kindness, your mind also becomes clear and quiet, and your progress in the meditation is very fast. So when you're holding a thought of loving kindness in your mind, do you feel upset, restless, negative? No, you feel happy, and result of happiness, tranquility, peacefulness. That's good for your practice. Okay, so we're going to be taking precepts and the refuges. So why do we do this? The refuges for the retreat. We're going to take the refuge that I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dhamma, I take refuge in the Sangha. That means we're putting our trust in the Buddha's exact instructions. We take refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha as the guide. The Buddha is the guide. That's who we're following. We take precepts for the retreat because it quiets the mind from guilt, remorse, and unwholesome influences. What are the 5 precepts? These are the main ones. We don't kill or harming living beings on purpose, even bugs. If there's a bug flying around in the room, get a cup and just take a piece of paper and put them outside. Or there's actually really great bug catchers on Amazon. They're called critter catchers, and they have this little gun at the end, and it kind of grabs the bug and throws them outside. I use this thing all the time. Don't kill or harm anything. After a while, what happens, a lot of people, they see a spider and they go, oh my God, that's horrible. I see a spider and say, hey, what's happening? I don't kill anything. And as a result, my mind doesn't hate anything. It's everybody's a friend. If they're in my cabin, they can either stay there or I can get my critter catcher and out they go. If it's too cold outside, I'm not putting them outside. I'll put them up in the loft and they can sit up there for a while until it gets warm. They don't do anything. What are they doing to me? Nothing. So they can just be there. I'd go down to Bhante's cabin. He'd have a bunch of wasps flying around. I said, Bhante, we got to get these wasps out. He says, why? They're happy up there. They're not doing it. They don't sting me. Okay. Number 2, don't steal or take what is not given. And the taking what is not given is the important part. If you go into somebody's refrigerator and help yourself to their food, you're taking what is not given. So whenever you take something that may be owned by somebody else, get permission. Obviously, outright stealing is not so good. What's the base? What happens when you steal or take what is not given? You feel guilt, and you run and hide, and especially on a retreat, you don't want any restlessness in your meditation. You don't want to add. So breaking that precept can create a lot of restlessness. No sexual activity at all for the retreat. Now, number 3 for normal living in the world is no wrong sexual activity. That means rape. That means with minors. Okay, it's really just basically follow the law. But for the retreat, no activity whatsoever. No lying or harsh speech. Be honest and tell the truth, especially in your interviews. Don't try to, answer the question the way the teacher wants it to be answered. Just tell us what's going on. We're not judging. We're just here to help. No drugs or intoxicants at all, other than medications. So please, no psychedelics, please. Now, for the retreat, there's no eating afternoon. Tea, are we putting chocolate out or no?
No chocolate.
No chocolate. Okay, chocolate's out.
We had chocolate tonight, that was it.
That was the end. That chocolate cake was amazing. No entertainment, dancing, singing, makeup, perfume, or other cosmetics. Obviously, dancing and singing, not so good. Perfumes and other cosmetics. We're not trying to make a splash around here. We're not trying to look good. And also, when you meditate, smells like perfumes and things, you come into the room and you really become too sensitive to them. And the last one, which is really not a precept, but it's a general rule: be kind and loving to yourself and all beings. Yeah, it's just a standard. We're going to take 5 recollections. 5 recollections remind us that that we will get old and we will get sick and die someday. And the only thing that we will take with us is our actions. We leave everything else behind. So, introduction to TWIM. TWIM is the actual Brahma Vihara practice described in the suttas, and it includes the divine dwellings of mindfulness of loving kindness, mindfulness of compassion, mindfulness of joy, and mindfulness of equanimity. So as before, you had breath meditation and you had a mindfulness of the breath. So in this case, you're putting your attention to mindfulness of a feeling of loving kindness, of metta, and it's a warm, glowing feeling in your heart. Later, that feeling will turn into those other feelings as you progress. The Brahma Viharas are described by the Buddha in his earliest talks, as recorded in the suttas of the Majjhima Nikaya. And there's a lot of mention of metta and the Brahma Viharas. The instructions in this guide are based on the suttas themselves and on commentaries that are consistent with the suttas. The instructions explain right effort. That is what we call the 6 R's. We'll get into that. We are practicing right effort as is explained in the suttas. But first, we're going to talk about mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness, first of all, you have to understand that the Pali Suttas were translated by Rhys Davies and his wife, and this is in the 1800s, and they were guessing at what this Pali meant. Pali is the original language of the Buddha that he spoke in India. And it is, it's a completely different language, and some things we don't have any English for. So what they did is they thought, well, mindfulness seems like it's concentration or attending to something or being aware of something. So we're going to say sati is equal to the word mindfulness. Well, this was their guess. They have not meditated or not really done the practice or knew the Buddha. So they're guessing that the word sati means mindfulness. And that's the Pali word for, quote, mindfulness. But mindfulness is not just paying attention. Be mindful of the door. If you're too tall, be mindful that your head won't hit the door jamb. That's not mindfulness, not the way that it is in the suttas. Mindfulness is the process of observing how mind's attention moves moment to moment. This is not what the other practices are teaching. They're teaching you that mindfulness is concentrating onto an object and watching that object and grasping it and holding it until you get concentrated and absorbed. Mindfulness, as it's in the suttas, is watching how mind is moving. Your mind is on an object, then it's over here. You watch that, you relax, then you do something about that, you relax. You watch it go, you direct your mind back to the object. It sits there. Now what is the mind going to do? Oh, it wants to move again. So why? Oh, that must be craving. So now we're starting to understand how the mind is working. Let's see. So back to the definition of meditation is observing how mind's attention moves moment to moment in order to see clearly and precisely how the impersonal process of dependent origination occurs. So Jordan was talking about dependent origination. Dependent origination is how exactly the mind works. And the Buddha's laid it all out. We're going to be talking about it. I have a chart of what happens in your mind every moment that you're awake, and how formation arises, and there's feelings, and there's contact, and then you crave for something, and you think about it, and you hold on to it, and then you do something about it. And it's a whole process, and it's happening right now and 24 hours a day. So we're going to learn what that is, and we're going to break it all down as you sit. You'll see that. That's dependent origination. We don't need to get into that too much. You're going to start to see that in your sitting. So how do you sit? Well, you can sit in a chair. You can sit on the floor too. I don't see anybody with a futon, but it's fine. If you want to do that, you can do that. But I'll warn you, after an hour or an hour and a half, your knees are going to get kind of sore. The Buddha did not ask us to have pain in the meditation. There is no dark night of the soul that the Buddha asked you to go through to attain enlightenment on the other side of all this suffering. The way that he taught it was a way of a positive way of experiencing positive states all the way to Nibbana. There's no reason to suffer. So if you can eliminate as much suffering as you can while you're sitting, your posture, in whatever, better, because your mind has lots of hindrances which you're going to have to work on. So posture, so sitting in the chair. If the first few days you're going to get a little sleepy, that's just the way it's going to go. But after a while you'll be able to sit, you'll be very alert. You can try this as this man does. If you're a little sleepy, you can sit on the edge of the chair, or you can lean back. But if you're leaning back too much, you could feel some sleepiness. If you do that, then come forward a little bit. But just sit comfortably, like you're here. You're listening to the lecture. Sit like this. And the mind will then relax, and it will calm down. There's no pain, and it will relax. Don't move. Once you sit, don't move. Don't wiggle your toes. Don't itch. Don't twitch. Don't rub. Don't scratch. Don't rock back and forth. Don't change your posture at all. What's happening is that we're setting up this collected state of mind. And when you move the body, the state just dissolves. It's like Jell-O. If you go in there and you start moving it around, why isn't this setting? No, don't move it. Put it in a refrigerator and let it set. And then it will change to a completely different state. That's what the meditation is doing if you don't move. When you sit still, the mind calms down. Just automatically, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. One of the things that I struggle with is I find that over a period of 10, 15 minutes or so, I inadvertently, subtly start slumping. And when I straighten, I do tend to lose my concentration, but I'm sort of caught between, do I just let myself continue slump and not, at least not deliberately change my posture, or at some point should I?
Well, how much is the slumping? Just a little bit?
That's just it.
Or is it down here?
At some point, it reaches a point where I think,
Okay, at that point, straighten up.
okay.
That's all you can really do. As you get more alert, you won't have that. You'll be very, you'll be alive, alert. There'll be lots of energy, and that slumping can be coming from a little bit, not maybe a little sleepiness or a little torpor or something like that. But just straighten up. It's okay, because you have to. Otherwise, you're going to fall on the floor. We don't want that. And, you can swallow. You can move your head a little bit. But some people, can we swallow? Yeah, you can swallow. It's okay. Chairs are better. The floor can be painful after an hour. I fought it. I mean, I was a Vipassana meditator. We sat on the floor, right? Yeah. That was it. Yeah. You're just a baby if you're sitting in some sort of chair. So finally, I sat in a chair. After an hour and a half on the floor, I said, oh, Bhante, my knees are they're kind of painful. And I really can't pay attention I can't create loving kindness. He says, sit in a chair. Oh, I can't do that. Well, finally I did, and it works. So, what are the instructions? Again, the instructions are in the book. A lot of you know the instructions already. You have nowhere to go. You're on a little vacation from life now. Remember a time when you were happy. So you have nowhere to go. Your retreat is going to go on for nine nights. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. Consider this is a cruise ship. And the entertainment is you. And all these states that are going to happen. And so don't think that you're trying to accomplish anything. You didn't come here to try to make something happen. You came here with a beginner's mind to see what would happen. Okay, so just relax. If things aren't working perfectly, don't get frustrated. Just relax a little bit more. Your mind is going to be great one moment, and the next moment it's going to be a wreck. And this is going to happen. You're going to have a great sitting, right, Victoria? You're going to have a great sitting, and then like the next day, nothing is working at all. You're frustrated, you're restless. This is going to happen. So all you can do is be aware of those hindrances that are coming up in your mind and relax. Don't try too hard. So you remember a time when you were happy. You bring up this feeling of this happiness. If you're holding a baby, remember the time you're holding a baby, or you're petting a dog, or something that makes you feel good in your heart. Okay? Just as I was happy and felt love then, may I be happy now. Bring this loving kindness to yourself. Surround yourself with this loving kindness. Now you're developing this feeling. May I be use some phrases. May I be happy. May I be calm. When that feeling fades, bring up another phrase to remind you of the feeling. May I be tranquil. May I be content. May I be full of joy. Whatever kind of helps to bring up this feeling. When the feeling comes up, don't keep with the phrases. Just let the feeling be there. Let your mind sink into it. And there won't be anything happening for a little while, and that's okay. Because once there's a kind of a feeling, then just let it be there. And when it disappears completely, then bring up another phrase. Smile. Smiling it's got a lot of research behind it that it will uplift your mind. If you hold a pencil like this is the typical research, your mind tends to be happier because your lips are up. Part of this meditation is smiling all the time. And it's okay, we won't tell anybody that you smiled. We won't tell your friends that you came and smiled all for 10 days. They'll think you're crazy and all of that, but they don't have to know, because at the end, they will want to start smiling too, because they'll find out how you did. Smile with your lips. Put that smile in your eyes. Smile from your mind. This is developing loving kindness. It's bringing the feeling up. And smile from your heart. So all these different places. In other words, make it sincere. Really feel loving kindness for whoever it is that you're radiating it to. Don't go, oh, may you be happy, may you be happy, yeah, may you. Don't repeat the phrases over and over again. Repeat them, feel them. Feel the meaning of the words. Smile and feel that smile all through your body. This is a smiling and feeling meditation. All right, so you develop loving kindness for yourself for 10 minutes. The next thing is you pick out a spiritual friend. Spiritual friend should be someone who you deeply respect and sincerely wish well. They are someone who makes you smile when you think of them. It might be a favorite teacher or counselor who has your highest goals in mind. It might be a friend who always has your back and supports whatever you do. This is a friend. You sit down with them for some coffee, or when you see them, you go, oh, it's really great to see you. They have to be alive, okay? You can use people who have passed on, but Bhante has said that there's no personal connection there. There needs to be a connection with somebody in this life. They should be the same sex, but if it's somebody, you need to have somebody there's no sexual thoughts, no lust that can arise. The classic is same sex. And it's not a family member. Family members can get a little bit complicated because they'd be great one time and then you remember another time, and Thanksgiving and Christmas. So the loving kindness to the spiritual friend, you practice this for the rest of your sitting. So you bring up the feeling of loving kindness. You give it to yourself for 10 minutes, and then you give it to a spiritual friend for the rest of the sitting. And if that sitting goes 30 minutes, that's great. If it goes 45 minutes or an hour, you just keep going. As I feel this happiness in myself, may you be happy and peaceful. We replace the word concentration with the word collectedness to help clarify that we are not forcing our minds to stay on only one object meditation in a forceful, fixed way. Rather, we want our mind to rest lightly on the object. If your mind wanders, use the 6 R's, which we'll get into. So we have a feeling of loving kindness, and we let our mind just sink into it. And then it lifts off, and the mind gets interested in going over here, and that's okay. But what we want to do is relax it so the mind just comes back. We don't jerk it back. Most meditations, you watch your breath. If your mind wanders, you bring it right back. No, you let it. We go, oh, look, the mind's wandered. That's okay. This is what it does. Relax. And then come back. Re-smile. Bring up a smile again. Bring up the feeling again. Minimum 30 minutes. Begin by radiating kind and happy thoughts and wishes to yourself for about 10 minutes. Switch to your one chosen spiritual friend for the remainder of your sitting for at least 20 minutes. And radiate kind and happy thoughts to them for the rest of the session. Stay with just the same friend and do not switch to anything or anyone else, even if you think they deserve your attention. We're not here to help everybody. We're really helping ourselves. Later you can help everybody by radiating loving kindness to them. But pick a spiritual friend and just stay with them. When the mind says, I want to do it for this person, this would be a better friend, it doesn't have to be a perfect friend. Just pick somebody. Use 6 R's to overcome distractions. We'll get there. Distractions. Oh. You're going to have distracting thoughts and sensations come up that bother you, and that's okay. Thoughts are not your enemy. In fact, they are opportunities to learn. Distractions are telling you what you crave, the things to which you are attached. Seeing and understanding what you like and dislike is the first step toward letting go of those attachments. So instead of when we have an angry thought about something, we don't push it away and run back to loving kindness. We go, oh, we have an angry thought. Now, sometimes it's overwhelming, and maybe we have to understand, why is it we're so angry? Sometimes we just have to ask ourselves, why is my mind wandering about this? Bhante would say, you should ask your intuition and let it tell you the answer. Because sometimes you'll be restless for the whole sitting. Well, there's a reason there. You just have to maybe take a moment and ask yourself, what's going on here? Why is this coming up? But there's another way to deal with these things. It is the 6 R's. Recognize that the mind's attention has drifted away and that you are lost in thought. You have forgotten what you're doing. You are no longer on your object of meditation. That doesn't mean if you kind of hear a noise in the background, you immediately start a 6R process. There's noises, there's lights, there's the background noise. But when your mind, all of a sudden you realize that you're thinking about lunch and you've lost your object, then you do a 6R. So you recognize you're thinking about lunch. Oh, thinking about lunch. Okay. You don't hate that. You don't try to push it away. You don't try to think about more about it. You just recognize and you release your attachment to that thought. Release your attention to that thought or sensation by letting the distraction be, by not giving it any more attention. Attention feeds it. Stop feeding it. Just back away from it. It wants your attention. It wants you to think about it more. Don't. Release kindly. Some people send loving kindness to their distractions. It really does work. So it means you're not fighting it. Most people will try to fight their distractions. I'm supposed to be meditating. What are you doing here? Get out of here. Well, that doesn't work because guess what that is? That's anger. It's aversion. So you're piling an aversion onto whatever you're distracted from. So you can pile up things and pretty soon, I don't know if I'm doing this right. Oh, okay, there's doubt. So you're adding all these distractions. Relax. Relax remaining tension or tightness caused by that distraction. And then re-smile. Bring the smile back. And then start your, may I be happy. May I be free from suffering again. And bringing that feeling of loving kindness back. Returning to your object of meditation. And repeat this entire practice cycle. Repeat this practice whenever your attention is distracted away from your object of meditation. Now the relaxed part, it's very important that when you release your attention to, say, you're thinking about lunch, then just relax and just take a moment and notice how this distraction is actually kind of, it's feeling, there's a feeling to it. And it really is a nasty feeling. It's the feeling of craving in all its ways. It's suffering, but you have to see it. And then your mind goes, yeah, that's no good. I don't want to have those things coming up. And it will pull away from them. And you'll have a lot less distractions. So you want to learn about them. What are these distractions? How are they feeling? How are they coming up? And later on, this is really learning about how dependent origination works. So what are the 4 right efforts? This is a very standard thing in Buddhism. 4 right efforts. And the first right effort is recognizing that there's an unwholesome state that's arising now. My mind has wandered. Uh-oh, this is bad. Abandon it. Let it go of the already arisen unwholesome state of mind. Okay? Release. Relax. Let it be. Now, bring up a wholesome state once you have let go of the unwholesome states and maintain. So recognize it's there, let it go, bring up a wholesome, maintain. That's the 4 right efforts, and that is the 6 R's. Okay, so we've talked about sitting meditation. Now we can talk about walking meditation. Walking meditation is taking your spiritual friend for a walk. And we don't want to walk slow like this. No, we're not doing that. We're just walking like a stroll. And we're keeping our friend in mind. It's like the friend can be in front, can be beside you, but just radiate loving kindness to your friend. See him smiling or her smiling and happy. And keep that going. And then 6R, so maybe just stop for a moment when your mind wanders and go through that 6R process and then start again. Now the classic walking meditation is 30 paces long. Your eyes are down about 8 feet in front of you. You don't look around and you just walk. And you keep that idea of the friend in your mind. And you're staying with that. Now, some people say, well, that doesn't work. You have to sit. It's not true. You can get into jhana very easily doing walk-in meditation. It can be very powerful, so don't discount it. So sometimes you won't be able to bring up loving kindness, and you're going to have something else to help. Now, Bhante Vimalaramsi he spent 2 years developing another kind of meditation, which is forgiveness meditation. And if we will get into this a little later, if you need this in your meditation, we'll talk about it in the interview, and I would say that at least half of you may get onto some forgiveness. You'll practice this for 2 to 3 days, and then hopefully you get through whatever is keeping your heart down, and that feeling now starts to come up. And forgiveness meditation is, one thing about loving kindness is the first few days is that your mind can say, I don't know about this, may I be happy, because I really don't think I deserve to be happy. I haven't done anything good. Why should I be happy? Well, you need to forgive yourself for doing that, because you're here, you're working on your mind, you're following some precepts, you're doing everything right for at least 10 days. So you do deserve happiness. And so that kind of thought, put that one aside. I am not a nice person. Okay. So that's the meditation. You're going to be working with 30 minutes. Now, some of you don't. I would like for everybody, even the OGs, to practice with a spiritual friend until Sunday. Spiritual friend is a very powerful part of this meditation. And you can develop that to the more advanced states, and it'll just happen on its own. And when it does, don't push it down. It's just fine. You know what I'm talking about. There's the next stage of the meditation is called radiating to the directions. But we don't need to talk about that at this point. In your interviews, we'll find out how you're doing, and there's certain things that we look for, and then we'll put you on to that next stage. But for the next, until Sunday, your first interview, use the spiritual friend. And you're sitting and you're walking. Now, what do you do during lunch? You can be radiating to your spiritual friend. You can be eating your food and simply being aware in the present moment of what you're doing and just eat. And the moment the mind disappears over here, don't get upset. Just go, whoops, and relax. And you could smile or not smile. I mean, you're eating, so this is a little hard to do. But be in the present moment. The Buddha in the Satipatthana Sutta said, a monk understands when he is walking. He understands when he is breathing. He understands when he is eating. He understands. That's all this is noticing what's happening in the present moment. And what to do when we're not in the present moment, we relax and let that go and come back to the present moment. The enlightened person is fully in the present all the time. And it's a state that you definitely want to go for. There's no craving in the mind. The mind is always here in the moment. And it's got nothing but loving kindness, mindfulness, equanimity, joy, and all the good stuff. When there's no hindrances and there's no craving, you get the candy. Any questions about this? I know it's gone on quite a long time, but when you give a Dhamma talk, you have to really go long, and everybody gets restless, and then you know, wow, that was a great talk. I'm kidding. Bhante would go on for 2, sometimes 3 hours, and we're like, oh no. But boy, did we hear the instructions over and over and over again. And that's really good because it keeps reminding you of what to do. Because it seems very simple, but you'll forget what it is. So you just have to look at my back, and remember. Now, clocks are going to, here's a clock here, and you can try and, if you want to know, have I sat 30 minutes? Try sitting and then think, well, is it enough time for the beginners? That's probably enough. You can open your eyes and look, and that's fine. Just don't move around and get up or do anything. You can open your eyes and look. But if your sitting's going well, don't get up. Because when you get up, you completely, that gelatin is all back to liquid again. And then you have to put it in there and let it sit for a while. And if you're doing well, you'll go, oh, I was doing so great. I'm sure I got this down now. I can just go in there and sit whenever I want. No way. Not going to happen. So if you're doing well, keep sitting. Sit for another 5 minutes. See if it goes well. If it doesn't go well, things are not coming back, then get up and go walk. And don't turn this into a hiking retreat. There's a lot of great places, but do some walking, please. Classic walking. So anything from anybody? Yeah.
A question about the relax step.
Mm-hmm.
So associate relax with some embodied practice. I'm just sitting still. I'm trying not to move.
Mm-hmm. No.
To relax, I think of the physical actions to get muscles to relax. I think that kind of relaxation. Is that the relaxation that you're referring to?
It's relaxation of the mind. The mind is where it's all happening, all those thoughts. And when the mind relaxes, the body relaxes. Now, if you notice tension and craving is tension and tightness. You'll feel it in the body. It's moving around. You'll feel like, oh, I'm tense here, or there's something happening. Relax. Don't expect it to completely relax immediately. Just 6R it. Release, relax, let it be there, and come back to your object meditation. And if you notice again, release and relax again and come back. Sometimes if your forehead gets very tight or something, first of all, you're trying too hard. But to relax that, you want to release, relax, and come back. Don't relax. It's not going to work. Your forehead will eventually just untighten by itself. It's all in the mind. The mind is clenching something. So you don't, it's just like, well, how would I relax my hand? Well, just make a fist and go like this. How did that happen? It's the classic Bhante. People say, how do you relax? Make a fist. Okay, now release it. Well, how did you do that? That's it.
You would say soften.
Soften.
Soften. A metaphor comes to mind.
Soften's good.
Slipping into a hot tub. What do? You relax. You soften.
Yeah.
See that smile on your face? That's bingo. You did the 6 hours.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what all it is.
So after, if I sit for half an hour and I think that that's enough, or I need to get up, and then I get up and then I sit somewhere else?
Well, you should do the walking and meditation for 20, 30 minutes.
Okay.
And then go and sit wherever you want to sit.
So I keep trying to kind of repeat the steps and go back into the...
That's right. It's just going back and forth, going back and forth.
So why not? Why wouldn't I just sort of force myself to just stay sitting?
Force yourself?
Not for. I mean, then I would at the.
Because there's a point where your mind goes down the drain.
Okay.
You're trying and you think and then it's just it won't work. You're actually developing more craving than was there to begin with. So just try 5 minutes. See if you can just relax and just, your mind will be shaking a little bit, but it's fine. Release, relax, come back. And 5 minutes later, if things are starting to mellow out, then keep going. If they're not, then get up and walk.
And is there a point where I just go, okay, I'm going to stop trying for half an hour, and just
And
and just think the way that I normally do.
no.
Got it.
Okay, I want you to do 30 minutes of thinking. And if it's going well, no. You'll do plenty of it anyway. So you don't need to be instructed to do it. So tomorrow morning, we're going to have a guided meditation because we're going to try to give you the instructions while you're doing the meditation. And that's at, when is that, Jordan? 6:30. We'll do the precepts and we'll do guided meditation. Now, you want to sit for at least 30 minutes. After that point, you don't have to feel like you have to keep sitting until the bell, which is 8 o'clock for breakfast. You can get up and go and do your walking meditation and go outside. But you sit at least 30 minutes. And you have the energy of the group, so you should, give it a good try before you start to get up. So 8 o'clock is breakfast. So the next thing you really need to know is 9 o'clock, we're going to come back, and we're going to have Bhante Vimlaramsi give the instructions on one of his really good videos. And you'll get everything again, but you'll get it far better than I can ever do it. So we'll hear him from a Joshua Tree video. Anything else? Yeah.
So just to be clear, for the walking, you would recommend sort of 30 paces back and forth?
Yeah.
Okay. Instead of like doing a nice walk around.
Yeah, okay, you can do some of that, but, some point, just try, a really directed kind of, try going from this end of the walk to that end and see if you can't do it without letting your mind wander off. Apply a little bit of energy. Okay. At the end of every talk, it's normal to share merits. Okay, so everybody all together, may suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we have thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddhist dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right. Thank you very much.